Hi guys, this is Julia and I have a really fun and exciting video for you today, and that is about creating a rainbow effect with watercolors. I have seen both Francine Vullier and Deborah James use this technique, and I just needed to try it out. So head on over to my blog because I've linked to their projects so you can see what inspired me. I am using the art and graphic twin markers by Zig, which Santa Claus brought me, so thank you, Santa Claus. And they are similar to your real color brush tip markers or distress markers, so you can use any watercolor marker that you like. They come with this brush tip and a fine tip. I'm going to be using the brush tip today. Here's another thing that I found out while I practiced. You need to go in the order of the color wheel. Do not put colors next to each other that are opposing each other on the color wheel. Put colors next to each other that are next to each other on the color wheel. That way you get a really nice blended effect and don't end up with brown puddles of color. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So I'm using my favorite things, black licorice ink, to stamp the elephant by Mama Elephant. And this ink will work fine with Copics and with watercolors, which is why it's my go-to ink now. And I'm stamping this on watercolor cardstock. This is really heavy watercolor cardstock. Now, through my experiments, actually, I've experimented an entire day to figure this out. I learned that the color, when I do a lot of watercoloring in one spot, it will seep past the stamped lines. So I'm using Schminke masking fluid and going around the stamped image to protect the area right outside the stamped line, so the color will not seep into that area. I mess it up later on, but that's beside the point. Basically, if you want to protect your stamped image so you won't have like a fuzzy, colorful halo around it, if that's the look you're going for, then do this. I also arranged my Zig markers in rainbow color order, going from green to blues to purples to yellows. And from the yellows you would go back to the greens, basically. And here is what I'm doing. So I'm scribbling down the marker directly onto the dry paper. And because these are pastel markers, the first color base here is extremely light. And that's okay. That we're going to work in layers, so that's completely fine. And you can see that going from the pinks to the purples is quite easy. They blend nicely. That's no problem at all. And then from the purples, I'm going to the blues. You can also blend these really nicely. That's no problem. You won't get any weird colors. Then I'm going over to a mint color here. And from the mint color, I'm working my way up into the greens. And I've actually used some pencil lines there to section the elephant to make it easier for me to figure all of this out. And after this first layer had dried, I'm going in and I'm adding more color. And this time I'm also adding actually more colors, more different pinks and purples. I've added an orange on top of some of the yellow to get more of the rainbow effect. And since the color was still very light, it was a very light colored elephant, and you could leave it like that. I'm coming in with my Stabilo markers, which are much more vibrant. And I'm adding just the tiniest bit of color. You can see that I'm really only adding a tiny bit of color and blending it out, and that will intensify the color. I just want to intensify the color along the edges of the elephant. I want the center of the elephant to remain very light, and you can see here that it worked out beautifully. It blended really greatly. Now I'm using my finger to gently rub off the masking fluid, and I'm not peeling it off, I'm rubbing it off, because I'm afraid if I peel it I might rip the paper. You have to test it with your paper. I know some papers, they don't work with masking fluid. I don't know why, they just don't work. And I tested this out and I knew that it would work. So I'm rubbing this very gently after I had dried the elephant, because I don't want to smear the color anywhere. And then I had my brother's scan and cut machine fuzzy cut this elephant out for me, and as you can see, it worked out perfectly. I'm very happy with my investment. And on this card base I stamped a striped border at the bottom simply for some contrast. Added a few of the bubbles that come with the stamp set, with the elephant stamp set. And my sentiment, sorry, off screen, is by Hero Arts, and it was designed by Jennifer McGuire. It's the Share Kindness stamp set, and because I make this card for a special friend that I have in mind. Now I thought I was done, and I'm actually adding some white dots here to my elephant, but I will later spray it with some mist. This is water in which I have mixed perfect pearls. And you can see just what an awesome shimmer I get. This is just, it looks so amazing in real life. It's shiny, it sparkles, it's really, really great. So I was super happy about how this turned out. I added a few, I don't know, they're not enamel dots. They're like clear enamel dots. I don't know, it's kind of weird stuff. The friend that I'm sending this card to actually sent me these things to add some dimension to the bubbles. And here is the entire card. It's not a standard A2 sized card, but it works just perfectly with the elephant here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got inspired. If you have any questions, leave me a comment, and I would love if you would subscribe. Catch you again soon.